essence of this work that I started doing had to do with journeying as a caregiver for my daughter a number of years ago when she had cancer. And as she progressed in her cancer, I would go to the West Coast and stay with her, and I would experience the medical system in multiple arenas, originally from working with her when she basically found out she had cancer, to working with different kinds of modalities for cures, such as guided imagery and things that were outside of the medical, what we call complementary medicine or alternative medicine. So I started inquiring about those methodologies and trying to get myself up to speed and help her by becoming her coach, so to speak. So the first level of coaching I did for her was the area of guided imagery. Unfortunately, her progression of her illness, it debilitated, and as she debilitated, I was getting more and more deeper into the medical system until the point where she got into hospice. And after hospice, there's either two choices: you either graduate hospice or you graduate into the other world. And she died, and when she died, I came back to Asheville and decided that I would basically honor her passing by getting more involved with the end-of-life movement. And as she was getting sicker, I was actually working in the end-of-life movement. But when she finally did die, that's when I moved more into this core work that we're doing with Death Cafe, which Death Cafe kind of triggered the Third Messenger movement and expanded it considerably. So that's how we got started. It's like any movement, it just takes time. It's grassroots. There is no end goal. We all die. But what we're trying to do in our belief system is, it's the communication and the conversation that bring comfort to those people who have actually had people who have passed on, or are dealing with people who are dying, or who are dealing with their own fear. And the interesting thing is, the death and dying movement isn't only about humans. It's also about loss. It's about jobs. It's about relationships. So there's a lot of suffering, and the work that we do is just to basically create a vessel, a container, to try to be present and compassionate. And you can't fake compassion. You either feel it or you don't do it. So it's a service. It's a public service. And we joke about, why should we put all our energy into this kind of a morbid field of work? The reality is that there's another component that really is the core of the whole thing, and that's love. So we're not talking about death anymore. We're talking about love. And some of us just want to work with people that are suffering, like the Bodhisattvas, and do our thing, nice and quietly. We engage, we get people to talk about it. We have wonderful stories, a lot of anecdotal stories come our way, and it's heart-blowing. It's really quite beautiful. That's why we do it. Death Cafe is a movement that started in Switzerland about maybe 6-7 years ago. Their heart message was, let's start Death Cafe, so they actually created a website, branded it as Death Cafe, and allowed it to become a global movement, which it is now. The Death Cafe experience, like right now, it's in 3 locations. It's going to be in Burnsville. It's also at college, at UNCA campus, and also block off Biltmore. And we've done it at Jubilee here. So we just put the word out. People come. We ask them to find their center, allow them to kind of still themselves. Then we explain a little bit about some of the agreements. Everything is confidential. What is said here stays here. We don't have an agenda. It's not about healing. It's not about having a belief system that we're going to preach. It's just about listening to people's stories and allowing people to hear other stories, gain the confidence to maybe find their own expression, or to find an expression that they can take home and continue their own conversation. A lot of the conversations around people who are my age, who have issues with their children, the children do not want to hear about, oh Dad, why are you bringing that subject up? So it's creating tool sets, it's creating vocabularies, it's creating language, It's creating all of these beautiful things that the phobia of death and dying can kind of just start softening like water and eventually clearing the path. So people can really embrace life. And that's what death camping is. The third messenger is the Trinity, spirit, mind, body. And what it is that it's third messenger's vision and mission statement is to attract people in the creative arts that want to come together as a community to end suffering.